Hello and welcome to the Wendercast, a podcast about all things concerning the Metaverse Football League. We are your hosts, Kelvinator and Jimbo, and together we will discuss the latest MFL updates, transfers, and developments. One important note, this is not financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Jimbo, who do we have in the studio today?
Today, we've got the return of a man who we brought on the show. Feels like years ago. Well, actually, it was last year in episode 5 of our captain's chat. It's a man who loves squirrels so much, and he also loves wearing fancy looking football shirts, which he's got on today. Hopefully, he might give a little description of us for him when we intro him. It's none other than Captain Tagerd. How are you, my mate?
I'm doing good.
Good stuff.
It's been a little bit. There's been some different changes, some words mentioned by everybody at this point.
Yeah, it must have been what season? When have you episode 5? And that must have been October, maybe midway through season 2. We first got you on the pod, and now we're just about starting season 0.4. And we'll get into a little bit about how everyone's pre-season tournaments are going so far. But do you want to quickly just let everyone know, for the audio listeners, what football shirt you've got on there?
I have a jersey from Pescara Calcio, the Italian Serie B. It was a fan design. They ran a competition during COVID lockdown. So I think they wore it for one match. But on this jersey, it's blue with a dolphin jumping up from the waves, going after a soccer ball, with a rainbow going above behind the dolphin.
And
it's very nice.
Not like a subtle. It's like it's a huge rainbow going across like a third of the front of the kit. It looks brilliant. You did say I'm going to wear a wacky kit, and I said surely not another Manchester United one. But no, you've turned up with an absolute banger.
You're welcome.
Very original one. Yeah. Should be for my team, for Black Sea, actually. The Dolphins. Also.
Yeah. Was that the inspiration?
Yeah, they stole it from me.
Give a good look. Jumping up from the waves.
Nice. Damn. Very nice one. Very nice one.
So, yeah, we've got Tagerd on. We've got him back. We're going to be chatting all things tactics. Tactics with Tagerd. Lovely bit of wordplay there. So we're going to jump straight into the weekly updates. But before we do that, worth mentioning, Tuesday we have the Wenderk stream, the final live stream of this, or final drop of this series. So it will just be standard and rare packs available, but I think there's still some juicy players to still be packed. So we'll be streaming then. I think we've got a nice quiz coming along for Tuesday. Is that right, Calvinator?
Yes, so no Wenderk Cup this time, but we'll do, again, some activities, quizzes, interactive games. Probably gonna use Blue Cat again, one of my favorite tools, to do such little games. With questions about football in general and MFL. And there's quite some new features and content to make questions about. Yeah. So I'll try my best to make a very fun quiz. Join us, participate. You can win some cool prizes again. And just, come hang out with us. So it will be fun, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So be there or lose every single game for the rest of season 0.4. That's how it goes.
Yes.
Without further ado, let's get into the weekly updates. How's everyone doing so far in the pre-season tournaments? How's the clubs going? Tagerd, as a guest, how's the 3 clubs in your organisation getting on in this pre-season tourney?
We're learning. We're learning.
Yes.
Yeah. This is recording Sunday. Park Street had a game a little bit earlier. Got completely demolished.
Ooh, scoreline?
4-0.
Same, mate. I got smashed 4-0 today as well.
So, it's going to take a rewatch. Try to get through it again. Only thing I could think of is I ran a 3-4-3, and it's been vulnerable against faster strikers. These strikers weren't necessarily the quickest, but they were running a 4-2-2-2. I have to think they were playing direct and just got in behind and had one-on-ones with the keeper. But XG of over 3 that they gave up. Our XG was like
Oh.
1.7 something, so we couldn't finish anything. They had a penalty. It was bad.
Couldn't finish their nuts, mate. Couldn't finish their nuts.
This is maybe already a nice disclaimer. Like, we're gonna talk about tactics, but we're definitely maybe not the experts here ourselves. It's just we're also learning, we're also trying, but we give like the way we see it interpreted later, right? So yeah, I also lost like 4-1 and 3-0 today with 2 teams. So we're all getting hammered in the preseason tourney, but yeah.
Yeah, I lost 4-0 today. I was 4-0 down within 36 minutes. I think I conceded 4 shots, conceded 4 goals. I was like, it's just not going to be my day. I was like, even if we score 1 or 2, I just know when a team has 100% conversion rate in the first half, you just know it's not going to be your day. So I think we've got a game coming up in 22 minutes time. So hopefully the Wyverns do better then. But that was the first loss of the group. We've won the previous 3, and then got smacked 4-0. So we'll dive in later about my tactical decisions so far. But maybe Sundays aren't the best days for us to have our games on.
Could be, yeah. Yeah, but I think it's really right now it's just testing, experimenting, and well, we'll talk about this later. But also for me, it's a lot to learn. For everyone, a lot to learn, I think.
Yeah,
that's the conclusion. Dev updates. Do you have the honor, Jimbo? Or...
Yeah, I'll do the honor. Yeah, so obviously we had dev updates as per on the Friday, and I think at the top of that list they're talking about the referral program. We know it's been sort of in development for the last couple of weeks, if not a little bit longer, and it's basically there and ready to go. Hopefully, sort of mid next week that'll be happening. You know, the referral tracking, moderation, dashboard for manual reviews, which is great. So it's sort of like, yes, it's automatic, but they can just have that manual intervention if people are trying to, game the system or get an unfair advantage using the referral system, which is nice. And I say Tag-erd shouts out, Yak shouts out, Jordan for setting up substantial amounts of testnet flow accounts to sort of practice all these. And then we've got a bit about the engine updates. Currently revamping the shooting mechanics. So the revamp now integrates the game's physics a bit more effectively, and sort of the outcomes are directly influenced by the trajectory of the ball and the goalkeeper's ability to intercept in a timely manner. So rather just than sort of a more formulaic sort of process at the moment with shooting, it's sort of more natural and towards the engine side. So shooters will have the autonomy to decide where to aim, along with sort of precision and power behind their shots. So sort of really nice to see sort of individual parts of the engine being revamped. And what this also does introduce is a possibility for own goals as well. So we know we're going to get a few more Harry Maguires. We might be able to actually figure out who's going to be the MFL Harry Maguire now, because we're going to get own goals being introduced into the engine as well. And as always, JC, not long ago, he was on the podcast, Juan Carlos, doing his testing and providing feedback for the improved realism and stat accuracy. And then just to sort of finish off a few sort of, I guess, technical bits on their test environment. Sort of I think they had some scheduled server maintenance and whatever. But one neat piece of news that the tactics saving feature is essentially ready, which Yak's just whipped up, it seemed, within, I think we've all been wanting it, to be able to save tactics and have them as presets for particular formations, etc. Attacking or a defensive preset you may have already made. And I think maybe after a few people sort of badged on about it within general chat, he then just posted a screenshot and was like, something like this. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay, this man gets it. So hopefully, well, he said coming next week, tactics saving feature and referral program. So yeah, busy time. And hopefully some new nice additions coming next week. Yeah. Anyone want to add to any of that at all?
Well, I was wondering if you guys have people to refer. Let's say, do you have some? Did you wait for them to tell them about MFL and now referral program is here and get people in?
So Rare Canary, who's a friend of mine, he months ago, I was like, there could be a referral program coming. Hold up, and then I think any news of it came for like ages, and I was like, nah, mate, just get into season 0.4 while you can. So I mean, I would have suggested him, and it's quite I think he's probably just over the threshold, but obviously like signed up and stuff. But right now, no. But with this incentives coming along, have to get my little business card out and go wandering around Norwich trying to hire some new recruits at the stadium next Saturday for a home game.
Very nice. Tagerd, what about you?
I have a few friends that I've mentioned MFL to previously, so they've heard me talking about it. Might be a little bit more of a push to, hey, join now. Use this link. Join now.
I think it will be the same for most managers. Like you all have your friends who are into football, gaming, or both, or NFTs or blockchain, and then now, you have this link, right? You can send them a link, promise them something. I don't know what, but maybe a pack or so.
I can already see like the first day it gets released, just MFL Twitter just being like everyone just posting the link or something. It's just like, oh, can you tell the referral program's just come out today, guys? Because it's going to be like link.
Definitely. Well, let's hope it works. Let's hope we can get a lot of people in. It would be really, really cool. What else about the updates? Well, shout out to Jax for really fixing that quickly.
Jax bomb.
Yeah, and what's also exciting is that like apparently things exist such as like shot trajectories. So hopefully that's also like a little glimpse that's maybe 2D. They can apparently look at those things.
He's dropped a few hints, I feel, during the week. It was like, oh, wouldn't it be good if he had 2D? It's like, man, just stop with the teasers. Just do a spontaneous release like you've done with a lot of features over the last couple of months. Just don't no announcement. Just drop it. Just drop it whenever you want. I'd rather that. Just drop it out of nowhere.
It's that Friday morning in the US where somebody goes on a place friendly and goes, oh, 22 players. And then the dev update comes out like 2 hours later.
It would be funny.
I'm sure that's how he'll do it.
Very casual. Like, oh yeah, here it is. Have fun.
So after the dev update, I want to get your two's opinion. In the BFC Discord, the shooting update, the conversation automatically turned to, how tall is your goalkeeper? Will height matter more for goalies?
This is actually an interesting one. I genuinely think height already matters for goalkeepers to an extent. I found out recently, and maybe not found out, but sort of got the idea from some of my goalkeeper performances. Just to point out that my goalkeeper's 6'5" and 19 years old. Not the age matters, but the height is 6'5". Like, this guy is tall. And he often has games where he just drops like 5-6 plus saves a game. And I genuinely start to think that height, if it's not having an impact, will have more of an impact. And that's something that I've already thought about in my mind. So if someone's got like a 5'7" goalkeeper, I'm like, I ain't touching you, mate. I don't fancy putting, Messi in goal. You just wouldn't do that, would you? That's my take.
Well,
all my goalkeepers are like 5'10" and lower.
But when we open packs, right, you also refer to it always. Like, we look at goalies and then, height, what about height? And eventually it will play a role, so, yeah. And maybe it already does. We don't know. It's not confirmed, but...
Yeah. Was that the consensus in the Ballers chat, Tag-erd, that, like, it will have more of an impact or something along those lines?
Yeah, because it says, what does it say? Goalkeeper's ability to intercept it in a timely manner. So that extra 4 or 5 inches from a 6'4", 6'5" goalie versus somebody who's under 6 foot, maybe that makes a difference in making those sprawling saves. And then that's when I realized like all my goalkeepers are 5'10" and lower. So we'll find out.
I think 5'11's like the lowest I'd ever go for a goalkeeper height.
Yeah.
My 16-year-old goalkeeper's 5'9", so got that going for him.
Maybe give him some, some sporting enhanced, I'm gonna say drugs. We'll call it drugs, right? To boost his height a bit.
When can we use MFL points to buy enhancement drugs? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, or just go out the medieval route and just stretch him out on like a board or something like a torch.
And then use MFL points to pay off the drug testing so they don't get caught.
have it like pro clubs on FIFA where you just like you can just add his height to like 6'9", and you can have MFL points as change. Some of the players like want to give him really long legs. You know,
Make them
like
grow.
make him really skinny or really big. You can do that. You know.
I think Barcelona really did this with Messi, by the way. Like he had this growing.
Oh yeah, I
physique.
heard about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they gave him
yeah.
like this, I don't know, medicine or injections or
Yeah.
something to make
It was
him
when he was
grow,
like 14 or something, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe
On-
MFL points. We can
You,
do it.
you're talking about there, Tagard, about drug testing and stuff like that. Did you know that Diego Maradona used to have a fake prosthetic, Johnny we'll call it, that he used to have for after Napoli games, and that Napoli sort of like helped him with that because he used to do cocaine loads. Do you know that?
There's some fun facts here on the.
And the fake. Oh, I can say Willy, right? The fake Willy. It got stolen. It was in a museum and it got stolen. No one knows where Maradona's fake Willy is now. So someone's got a fake Willy in their house that Maradona used to use to bypass the Italian drug checkers. Random one.
How much would that go for an auction at this point?
I reckon that goes for millions. You know,
It would be over $1 million easily, I'd imagine.
Okay. I think it's high time for a season update, guys.
I think so as well, mate. I think so as well.
This little detour about growth hormones and fake willies. So I have here in front of me the pre-season tourney tier 1 ranking of the 4 groups. I don't know if you guys also have this page open. We can maybe look at it briefly to see how teams are doing. Well, for sure, Meta Mercenaries is top in Group 1, so they really already have a good start to season 0.4. What I notice is Dio's team, Bistione Milano, is bottom in Group 4, so again, not the best start to a season. And apart from that, it looks like quite normal. Quite some platinum teams are doing really well.
I mean, the key takeaway for me is I think you've got Ronan's Diamond and Plat leading their groups respectively, and if you also
Ronan's Gold.
Oh, is it Gold?
Sorry.
Sorry. It's a bit like your silver team, is it? You know, is it one of those? Yeah.
Except my silver team isn't performing as well.
Yeah. The ones that the squirrels can't quite crack their nuts.
I know.
So you've got Ronan's Diamond and Gold teams leading Group 1 and Group 4, and if you also look at the leaderboards for scorers and assists, you've also got Ronan's Gold and Diamond teams leading the top 2 in both those leaderboards as well. So, you know,
so Ronan is doing very well.
Yeah. So follow what that man
Ronan's
does.
Gold keeper is tied for 4th in saves.
Is he?
Yes.
And is he tall? That's a question.
Is he tall? Just a quick one. Is he tall?
Yeah, quick check.
He is 5'6".
Oh, okay.
Maybe the shortest keeper that I've seen.
So our theory, no, I don't know if it's already
is a theory.
It's a theory. Yeah, could help. Yes. So conclusion: Ronan had a great start to
Ronan's popping
to
off
the
so
season,
far.
and
Dio has not.
Dio not. Parque Ibirapuera is also doing well again. They always keep performing pretty well. Bowlers second in their group 2. Basel as a Diamond League bottom, underperforming, but it's still early, right? 4 games in, so
yeah, we're basically halfway through the groups, aren't we?
It's just a little indication, I would say, of season 1.4, how the teams are doing here. Time for marketplace updates, and a lot happened this week again. So last week we had a crazy market week, but I think also this week, loads of trades, loads of purchases on the marketplace. So let's go over a couple of them. First, shout out to some new active managers. So Hatter, Metaverse Noise, he's been very active, a new name we saw in Salesbot. I just checked Scared Koala, never seen that name. Nice to see him. And Scotto, you all probably seen this name in Salesbot. He's bought so many rares, like a ton of rares, so very active. Also, Guitarero, ton of players, 2 new clubs, so he's really kind of stacking his consortium. Lamweb3 got another club, loads of players, Frajokos, Tagana, Spice Weasel. So, yeah, a lot of market activity there. And now probably we should look at a massive trade and splash of the week. What shall we do first?
Let's look at the trades first because that was 4 days ago at time recording on 24th. We had, just I think within 12 hours of each other, we had 2 massive trades come in. First one, Dio and Ronan, and then the second one was Scrub and Dio.
Dio.
So Dio's
Dio got two very highly rated left wingers. That's also interesting.
Yeah,
both left wingers.
Just casually like low 90s players just getting chucked around and trades like they're common players basically, which is great to see. And a lot of the people's emoji reactions sort of showed what the community thought of that. Lots of 93 rated Damien, not pronouncing that surname.
Shall I do it? Maciejewski.
Yeah, you can do that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, some absolutely unreal trades going on. And like you said they're both left wingers.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I was like checking that. Like, is he gonna play both of them in the Biscione Milano team? But actually, Tyson is now at Bollers FC, so he's part of the Dow team, and Maciejewski plays for Biscione Milano. So that's how he solved that problem. He's not gonna play both on the same squad. Yeah, but to say that. Sorry, Tagerd.
I think part of the deal for Ronan to trade Lars was Dio keeps him at Ballers FC for the season, but I think the plan for Dio is to bring him back to his team.
Okay.
So I think Damien will probably end up playing on the right and Lars on the left, but it's going to be definitely something he's going to figure out.
Yeah.
And do you think, I'm interested, Tagerd, also your opinion. So Dio traded his 93 left winger for a 92 legendary, an 85 legendary, and an 84 rare. Do you think that's for who had a bargain here? Let's say.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't have any of the 90 overall players, so the difference between a 90 and a 93, 94, I'm not quite sure what it is, but clearly Dio wanted those 93 left wingers and was willing to trade a couple 92s and more for them.
Yeah. So in the other deal, it's a 93. There's Lars Thijssen for a 92 and 87. Yeah. So it's like multiple legendaries, even a 92, which is almost that same rating as those 2 93 left wingers. So yeah, he really wants this quality instead of maybe the quantity. So that's interesting. Yeah, they're both, definitely they're the best left wingers in the game. They're almost the best attackers in the game. So yeah, Dio now both owns those 2 guys. So yeah, massive trades for him. So let's see how they're going to do.
Is it time, gentlemen, to do our together piece of Splash of the Week? So I'll count us down and we'll all just say it how you want it to, high pitch, low pitch, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to go, and it's Splash of the Week. Like the week is, extended out.
Yes.
Are you both ready?
We are.
3, 2, 1. Splash of the Week. Not sure how that's going to sound post recording, but it was great. So yeah, Splash of the Week. We've got a top 3. I'm going to go for a podium. Well, actually, there's not a third place. We've got 2 joint second places, which were Guitarera and Siege with 450 USD purchases for a 85 overall and an 86 overall. But coming in at this week's Splash of the Week is our man, Eric Barbaric, purchasing an 87 rated right back for $500. And Calvinator, I'm going to come to you again if you'd like to do the honours of pronouncing this guy's name.
Cezary Adamiak. There you go.
Polish right back, 21 rated. I think that's a proper good pronunciation from you. Far better than probably myself and Tag-erd. Probably you two could do as well. Much better than us, yeah.
I'm American.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're both pretty horrendous at accents, pronunciations in our country. So that's why I've got Calvinator on here with me.
One of my expertise. pronouncing
exactly.
Names of players. Yes, but great splash. We all agree, right?
Yeah,
Great.
and I think all those splashes came literally within like a couple of hours of each other. Because they're on the trade, but on the sales spot, they're all next to each other. I think here we've got like a half an hour between a couple of them. So I think, on the same day, we had 92, 93 legendary players getting bounced around. And then we had, early level legendary players getting sold as well. So lots of legendary players transferring ownership this week, which is great to see.
Yes, very active.
But the only legendary player that we care about, really, really care about, is Dirk. How is Dirk doing, Calvinator?
Well, not so good, because he played only 2 out of 4 matches of the Meta Mercenaries in the preseason tournament. And that probably has to do with the formation. So in a 4-2-2-2 that Ronin played, there is no Dirk because he's a right midfielder. So he would get a really big hit playing or in the defensive midfielder or attacking midfielder position. But in the 4-2-3-1 that Ronin played the last match in, he did play as right midfielder in there, and that is his primary position. So you get like the full potential of Dirk there. Did he, let's say, perform, let's say, when he was given this chance to start again? Well, he had 1 assist in 2 matches and 1 yellow card. So it's not like he performed, well, it's okay, decent. Let's say 1 assist.
I think if we break down his stats and we'll go slightly further into it, I think in the 2 games he played, he had about 6 shots though. Let me have a look at this quickly. Yeah, so the 2 games he played so far, he's had 4 shots and 3 of them on target. So, it might be worth us looking at how those cam players are doing in the 4-2-2. But I think for a right mid, those aren't horrendously poor statistics.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's got an assist every 90 minutes, which I guess ain't bad, is it? But yeah, just interesting to see the rotations being in play. But I guess it's what the pre-season tournament's it's there for, right? To test these things out. And like you said, he's quite limited to playing in the right mid position because that's where his prime position is, right?
It's also interesting for Ronin now, like if he's gonna stick with 1 or the 2, he might have to reshuffle and loan out. If he sticks with 4-2-2-2, maybe he loans out Dirk to another diamond club, right? So that we'll see, might be interesting to development there.
It's another trade coming.
Yeah, you never know. Just some big. Imagine if Dirk left. Imagine if
It would be a big move, a very big move. Yeah. Well, it could be on a contract, right? Probably not a sale, but just as a contract.
Yeah. So go on, mate.
No. Say like if he chooses this formation, it makes sense because otherwise you cannot play it. So
yeah,
you're losing MFL points then.
And the final segment of the weekly updates is the Why Dirk. And Tag-erd, you will have listened to the questions that we've been asking our guests over the last 2-3 weeks. We want your top 3 candy, chocolate for those of you who aren't from across the pond. Top 3 right here, right now. Chocolate. What is it?
It's the Hershey bar.
Yep.
Peanut butter Snickers squares.
Squares. Ooh, I not heard of them. They sound alright.
So good. And Kit Kat.
Kit Kat. Okay. No
what?
Snickers.
Just like the 4-fingered Kit Kat or the 2-fingered Kit Kat, or do you not have those variants?
Well, the 2 fingers kind of like that. That like those snack size that kids always get in Halloween, so I always end up snagging a few for my kids. But the 4 is the general convenience store that you get from.
Bit of a silly question, really. Isn't it? You're not gonna if in America you get the option between the small and the large. You're probably not gonna go for the small option for a snack, are you? So
Yeah.
4-fingered Kit Kat. No, I rate it decent. But also we've got to be inclusive here, and we've got to ask for your top 3 vegetables.
Yes.
So Calvinator can also have his opinion and weigh in on it as well.
Keep it healthy.
Broccoli. Potatoes. Carrots.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I think
broccoli, we keep seeing broccoli in the top 3s.
I think broccoli's
so good.
Yes.
I think broccoli's brilliant. I think I also saw someone say, might have been in the ballers chat or in the general chat, saying about this top 3 vegetables. This is sort of, they were asking, is it just if you have like a bowl of that vegetable, or is it sort of just vegetables on a plate in general? Because I think the topic of like onion was brought up, whereas you just wouldn't have onion by itself, but it's quite a versatile vegetable in itself that it gets included in a lot of dishes. But I think here, I don't think anyone's going to put onion in the top 3. And let's be real now. But we're more thinking of it from sort of,
I guess in cooking, right? Using it in a dish, or
I mean,
Yeah.
onion might be like a top of everybody's just for like within dishes. Adds so much flavor.
yeah, garlic, onion, and then it's like what smells so good starter pack is usually garlic, onion together. And then
yeah, true. Always chuck it in at the beginning. Yeah.
Great.
There we go.
I love our little segment about candy bars, veggies, and cooking. Now also, we keep
It sounds like
this.
it always feels like it's the most talked about bit of the podcast each week, and it takes like 2 minutes of the hour.
It's not about MFL at all, so yeah, that says something, maybe. All right. Well, let's start then with the main segment. We're gonna talk everything about tactics. So tactics with Tagerd, and well, we had a little, let's say, sneak peek spoiler that we're kind of struggling ourselves with our team, so we might not be the biggest experts, but it's just our experiences. What do we think? Let's say when you select which thing, what do we believe it means, or why would you pick the other? So just sharing our experiences and shining our light on it. So, Tagger, let's start with your first experiences. How has it been so far with team instructions?
Initially, I love them. It's just how it's laid out. Easy to select what you want. The little info circles give you that little description of what each does. Allows you to really screw up your team. But at least you know it's your fault now.
Yeah, it's not the engine's fault, it's your fault.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, first impression is this is great. Easy to use, easy to look at, easy to understand, kind of. And yeah, then it just started playing around with them and seeing how bad I can screw it up, how good I think I made a team, and then redoing it all.
Do you feel like you've screwed up more than you've got positive results out of your team instruction changes?
I think I found some things that I don't want to do. But
okay, so yes, okay, that's good. You're like you know you're eliminating.
Entirely sure.
Yeah, no, I like that's a good way to look at it. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the main one for me is maybe it's just my clubs. Maybe I don't have the defense for it, but for out of possession, playing out of defense rather than clearing the ball, that hasn't worked for me at this point. Maybe it's just I don't have the defense for it, but so I've generally been using more balance or clearing the ball more often, but I still play around with it every now and then trying to figure it out. I haven't yet.
Well, we'll dive into each individual thing in a second, so we can discuss that. Maybe first in general. So, Jimbo, what's your feeling with team instructions? Playing around with them?
Yeah, I think I'm probably in the same boat as Tag-erd here, to be fair, where I love, first of all, love the team instructions. Like you said, easy to understand, you know, got the information there to assist you with just giving a bit of a better understanding just from the go-ahead as to what each instruction does. But I'm still in the boat where I feel like I've got a grasp on it, and then I quite swiftly realise I do not have a grasp on it. So I think I'm just a lot of tinkering, but then not a lot of tinkering because I've always been in the boat that I don't want to change things too much and have knee-jerk reactions over particular results. So I'd say I'm in a better position than I was last week when I said I'm not really too sure at the moment, but we're making progress. As long as we're making progress each week, positive steps, and we're going up. That's my take.
Nice.
Yours?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think I've tested enough yet, and I still didn't properly test stuff. And yeah, you're really tempted to. Let's say you play a match, and now this tournament, it's pretty even, right? You're matched with groups and teams that are very like the same level, and then you win and you have like 3 XG, like, yeah, I'm a tactical genius. And then with the same tactics, you lose 4-0, and then you think, oh no, it's totally wrong, and you change it again, right? Or you feel like, I want to change it again. And I must admit, I did change it then because I think, oh, this doesn't work. But yeah, that's just too chaotic, right? So you need to or be consistent and run it for the whole tournament. That's what your plan is, Jimbo, right? Run it for the whole tourney.
Yeah, run it for like the group stage, then the knockouts or something like that.
Mm.
Otherwise, I just never be able to really understand, did my change actually change something, or is it just the run of the play sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's very tempting to lose one game. You have low XG, like, okay, this doesn't work, let's change it up. Well, it can maybe be like a bad dice roll, let's say, and you're very unlucky, or maybe, it can be other reasons. So, well, we're going to talk later a bit about testing, like how do you know if something works. So I'm curious what you guys will say that, but let's first maybe go over each thing, and then kind of what are your thoughts about it, like who would you select normally and why. So the first one is for offensive instructions, is attacking with. So what would you guys pick there, or what do you prefer?
I've personally, first of all, I think it's all dependent on formation, like some of these sort of the scaly ones, like your width and pieces, right? These are where the formations have a bit more of an influence on what you're picking here, or probably most of the reason, really. I tend, I'm just going to give away all my tactics for the pre-season tournament here, right now. So if you're in my group, big Will, but I know you're in here as well. You're in my group. I just like giving it all away. I tend to never go below 50% on this. I personally try to keep mine like in between the middle and like around that 75% range towards the very wide. That's where I keep mine at usually.
So slightly more wide.
Yeah, slightly wide. Yeah, that's because I mainly run wide midfielders and 4 at the back as well, and that's just personally how I would want to play the game. And like when I watch football anyway, I like to see not massive width, but I still like to see more width than not. So it's a bit like, it's a bit of personal bias in there, really, or confirmation bias, probably the word. But that's my personal preference. Yeah.
What would you, Tagerd?
Yeah, I'm not too much different. I've been generally playing wider as well. Part of it is I have wide midfielders. I have left backs and right backs. I want to use them. I've played around with narrow. I've generally kept it wider or 50%. It's going to be some formation figuring out, but I don't know. Yeah, it's that narrow. I feel like I need higher dribbling that I don't have to take advantage of the narrow. I'm probably wrong, because why can't you attack from wide with dribbling? We've seen Mahrez do it for how long? I don't know. Yeah. But I've generally played wider since basically because I have wide midfielders, left backs, right backs. So
yeah, I prefer wider, but it's also from just like playing football myself and field hockey, and it's like, when you attack, you want to have enough space to or make a dribble or to make runs into the space. And in general, if you keep it tight, it's very hard to attack. You want to make runs or drag defenders out of position. So in a general principle of offensive play in football, I think you need to create some spaces to keep it wide, to keep the field wide, and make space for a striker to head it in. If all defenders are in the box, you cannot make a header, right? But that's just a general principle. It's not based on MFL testing, but that's what I feel and what you guys also feel, apparently. So we're all team wider in this sense. That's the conclusion. What about directness, passing, more direct, controlled?
I tend to lead on a balanced one here. I did initially play controlled because I was like, yeah, let's try and program the Wyverns to be like Man City. Quite quickly realised that you're probably not going to find Man City in the Iron League. So you just get absolutely smashed by a few counters every now and then, and like just quick direct balls at the top, which is usually what happens in those low leagues anyway. So personally, I tend to stick with balanced or direct counter-attacking filth, direct long balls. That's been my take on it.
Same, I think. Yeah, we just used to like controlled passing is really high level, like Barcelona, tiki-taka, Man City, like this constant passing around. It seems not very, like, more risky to do, or it's not gonna get a lot of results than direct or balanced play. So
I don't play enough midfielders in the centre of the park to feel like that having like control would do well. I used to rock like a 4-1-2-1-2, and in my head I've only got really sort of like your centre backs. Maybe it's CDMs and your cams might benefit a lot from that. And I don't think I've either got the wingers that have great passing stats anyway that I can try and take advantage of a more controlled approach. But yeah, Tag-erd, thoughts, directness.
I've used all three. kind of formation, and then I've played a lot of friendlies. It's what I do. So I've switched between controlled, balance, and direct, just playing the same person over and over, trying to get a sense of what they're doing if it's beating me, switching it up a little bit, and it seems to make a difference. I've played really controlled and done well, and then it seemed like I didn't ask, but the team was pressing a lot, and I was giving the ball up. So I switched it to balance, and the game shifted back and forth a lot more than it had previously. So I thought it made a difference. So yeah, I've kind of switched it around depending on formation, kind of how I want to play, and just scouting. I need to try to scout better, but just playing friendlies and seeing the difference that happens in friendlies.
It's a hard choice to make, I think, but probably with many of those things, like 2D will help greatly with this. To analyze it a bit better, or see. Shout out to the X.
I want 2D just to analyze my game from today that I got destroyed.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see how the goals happened.
What about flank preference? I think that's a quite interesting one, because it feels very unnatural, maybe to play asymmetric, kind of, to have more or right or left.
I've just started playing around with this.
I've never changed it. I don't think I've ever changed it. I don't dare.
I've just started playing around with it, and my thinking is, if you're going against like a back four or back five, probably more than a back three, if like a right back or left back is significantly stronger than the other, attacking down the other flank. I don't know if it does anything yet. I've started playing around with it, but maybe there's something there.
It sounds like a good plan to me, for sure.
I've played a few games and I won, but I don't know if it was because of that. And then I also don't know if prioritizing either flank would mean they're attacking more. If I have crosses high, does that mean they're crossing more to the other side? I don't know all that yet.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I will, but
with Black Sea, I have this right mid. He has 94 dribbling in like bronze league level, or like silver league. Sorry. And his defense is low, while the left mid has very high defense. So from that point of view, it makes more sense to maybe let him attack and let that other guy do the defending a bit more. But yeah, we don't know also if that really works, but it makes sense. Like what you said there, like if you have a very strong right back or a very weak left back, put more pressure on that left back, do more attacks there. Yeah. So then you have to do your scouting and try that out, I think. But sounds good. Long shots, crossing, dribbling, maybe those three we can kind of get together, as it's all like a different option for different styles of attacking, I would say.
Yeah, I'll go first here. So I'll go with dribbling first, actually. I've always kept this on balance, but I did try to play around with this, because I saw on the marketplace there was like an uncommon player for $4 or $5 who had like 87 dribbling. I was like, do you know what? This is the prime candidate to have flank preference and the dribbling team instruction to sort of, to focus on. And I had an 87 dribbling, and I think my other winger had 85. And I thought, right, this is the prime time to use dribble more often. Did I know the effects? What happened? Could I tell? No. So I put it back to balanced again. But that's I will admit, mainly that was because it was like late night analysis when I was on my phone, whereas I actually sat down at my computer, really delving into this and understanding it a bit more. But yeah, crossing for me, I did like to have it on cross more often, but at the moment it's formation dependent. Single striker, cross less often for me at the moment. Double striker or playing 3 up top, maybe go for cross more often. Long shots, I've not got the shooting ability for taking more long shots, so I've always kept this on balanced or take less long shots for me at the moment.
Worcester.
I've kind of been on all over the place with them all at this point. Initially for shots, I did take less long shots because, I mean, last season it would be every time there's a shot outside the box, just getting frustrated because they went in like once every 10. But then starting through this, it seems like all shots are kind of going in once through every 10. So I've started playing around more with balance and take more long shots. And it is kind of formation, like playing 1 up top. I've kind of started tending towards more balance or long shots because you don't get as many shots with 1 up top if you're waiting to take less. If I notice a team is really hunkering, playing a really low block, I'll usually try to shoot further out, just get a few more shots off. I still like taking less long shots because getting those shots right in front of goal, kind of nice, but yeah, you just need people to finish. Crossing, like I've already said, I have a lot of outside mids and outside backs, so I tend to cross more. I haven't really tried crossing left less often yet, so not quite sure what that will do. Dribbling, I've kind of bounced it around. I've tried the cross more often and dribble more often, but I don't know if that did anything besides confuse players on what to do. So I usually will have one more often, one balanced. Every now and then I'll do a less often, but it's usually one or the other. And I'm typically more crossing at this point. I haven't messed around too much with single up top, double up top, 3 up top, if I'm going to cross more or not. But yeah, there's a lot to look at.
But for me, it's also a bit of a struggle between personal experience and overall kind of philosophy of like what I think a good football is, and then maybe what will work in MFL, right? That can also be 2 different things. So I really hate when I play football myself, like guys who keep shooting like from distance and they always miss. It's just so dumb. And then, or on TV, right? It's like 1-0 and then it's like the Dutch team plays, they have 15 minutes. And out of desperation, they keep shooting from 30, 40 meters out. It's just so frustrating. So I really am against long shots. But as you said last, or with that engine before, all those long shots went in. So maybe then you should pick more long shots. Crossing, yeah, I would say depends on indeed the formation you play. Maybe if you play big wingers like 4-3-3, makes more sense to cross more with those wingers. And 4-2-3-1, maybe then more long shots. Dribbling, I'm kind of a fan of more dribbling, but that's also because I think that makes things happen in football, to have like a creative player making some dribbles. If it works, that's a second thing. But if I have guys with high dribbling in my team, I feel like they should make stuff happen, do some dribbles. So, yeah, it's a bit the struggle I have between what I feel like good football is and what works in MFL or works for my teams.
Yeah, so we've all got slightly varying opinions on a lot of the in possession instructions. Obviously, not just got that, we've got out of possession as well. Team depth and compactness, 2 more widey, scaly influences. Tag-erd, what's your quick take? What's your current focus on either of these at the moment? Or still varying?
Still varying. I really want to play a high line, but I haven't had a lot of success with it.
I'm too scared as well, mate.
I've played Dane's Gauchos so much, and their strikers are fast. And it seems like every time I play a high line, he's putting 2 or 3 past me. And I drop it down low, and it's maybe 1. If it gets 2's rare. So it's like I'd love to have a high line, play aggressive, and take it, but maybe I just don't have the defense on my forward line to really be able to do it at this point. So typically I'm playing more mid or low block, keeping my defense a little bit lower. And then for compactness, I don't spread out very much typically. I usually keep it 50% or lower. I've tried wider, but it just, I don't know. Just for me, it seems like it makes too many lanes. I don't know if it actually does, but just looking at the defense so spread out on the screen, I hate it.
Yeah. I get it. I'm the same. Compactness, I literally keep in the middle most times, and the depth is probably about 30% low. That's what I usually keep it at. I'm too scared of the high line. Not got the pace on some of my centre backs for it. And same with compactness. When you see those blue dots start widening, I'm like, that's a lot of space for them to attack in there. So I'm not gonna keep it nice and nice and spread out.
Yeah. I think for me, it's again this vision, like you want your defense to be a bit more compact, to not give enough space for strikers to make a move, or to have enough space to shoot or head in the penalty box. So I tend to make it more compact, and same with high lines. Yeah, I'm a bit afraid of that space in the back of the back four or the back three. I usually play back four, to have too much space in the back. Might depend against stronger teams or weaker teams, right? If you're much stronger, you can put that pressure on and keep a higher line. And against a weaker side, you might park the bus more and just do super low block.
I'm thinking out loud now with everybody, all three of us saying we usually go a little bit deeper and more compact. I wonder if playing a high wide, you should have a more spread out defense to be able to trap and be a bit more aggressive. You don't have as much ground to cover to get to the ball if the opposite team's trying to spread the ball wide or something like that.
If you want a high press, so we'll go on to that now actually. So the trigger press in the aggressiveness pieces, you can imagine if you wanted to have more often in terms of trigger press, you'd probably want to play a higher line. And maybe
I would think you probably want to spread out a little bit more too, because I like my defense compact, so maybe that's part of why just getting beat so much.
But is tightness is obviously it's not just up and down. It's like if you're defending, if they've got a throw in on their own corner flag, you want to get nice and tight. You know, the classic like box them in, that sort of approach to it, right? Which I guess I don't know how much of out of possession that is, but I feel that you're right. I think if you want to play the trigger press or the gegenpress, what you want to call it, high line, and then maybe that's where it's good to have a little bit of a play. We should have a play around: is the tight block or the spread out better for the controlled approach to the beautiful game?
Yeah, I agree with you, Jimbo. Here, like if you have a super high line, it's better to keep it wider. So those two things seem to go together. If you have a high line, you want to be pressing up the field and not already when you're in your own half. So I agree on that one.
Aggressiveness. I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents first. More aggressive. My teams are playing like the crazy gang of Wimbledon, getting like 3 red cards every game. I feel if I put it on like more aggressive, I think if you combo more aggressive with more often press, I feel like I just get destroyed. Kitty on the screen for those. Obviously, you can't see Tag-erd's screen right now. We've got a fourth guest of the pod, but yeah, aggressiveness. Calvinator, what's your thoughts on the aggressiveness?
Well, so far I've always kept it balanced, almost with all my tactics. But I recently actually moved 2 teams up to like really aggressive, and they didn't get extra cards and they did win. So again, is that correlation causation, or is it just luck or whatever? I don't know, but it might work sometimes. Like if it doesn't result in more cards, then they should be more aggressive. But yeah, I didn't really test it enough. And also no feeling, like I feel like balance should be okay, you know, like a normal level of aggressiveness should be okay.
Yeah, I typically will keep it kind of balanced too. I've had some games playing aggressive where I just get like 6, 7, 8 cards, and it just turns into I got 6 yellow cards. Who knows what's going to happen in the final 20 minutes of the game? And then the 83rd minute, here's a red card. It's like, oh God, hold on. But yeah, I typically keep it balanced because I want some aggressiveness. I've played more aggressive, played less aggressive. It seems like more aggressive does tend to get more cards, but not guaranteed.
Yeah, you're more often to have those games where you get like 2 sent off, for example. I feel like those have been more frequent recently. I find that I have it on more aggressive. I might not get many cards in the game, but next game I'll make an up for it. All right, I'm getting, like you said, 6-7 bookings, maybe like an early 15-minute, bath for one of my players, that sort of thing. But I think, couple that with trigger, the more often trigger press. I think that if you're an underdog, could be a recipe for disaster sometimes.
Yeah, and then I also started thinking about the dev update with own goals coming a thing, being more or less aggressive, factor into own goals.
Well, Harry Maguire be more aggressive in heading him back to his goalkeeper,
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where usually the own goals come with the defender kind of hanging off and not closing down fast enough, and then they stick a foot out trying to block it and deflects.
Yeah.
So if you're less aggressive, does that mean that's more likely to happen, or is it going to be you're more aggressive and sticking your foot out trying to clear the cross? I'm just interested how it's going to play out. That's all.
Yeah. So final one then. Oh, Tag, Cabernet, do you want to chime in then? Sorry.
No, well, only thing about this aggressiveness is we don't have any suspensions yet at all, right? So
no,
yellow cards don't hurt. The only thing that hurts is a straight red, and pretty early in the game. I think if you already have 2-0 up and red card, it's still okay. So right now it might actually be beneficial to play a bit more aggressive if you have the occasional red in the, let's say, the fourth quarter, and it helps you to win games or to win the ball more often and get more chances. So without suspension, it might actually be good to play a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and the final one out of possession, clearances. Are you trying to play out from the back, or are you just trying to just if in doubt, kick it out? What's the approach?
Well, I can start with this.
All balanced, of course.
I think it's connected with this controlled passing, right? If you play controlled passing, you want to play it from the back, and the proper football is playing it out from the back and not kick and rush.
Proper football.
Yeah,
that's that
Dutch school. Good football.
Is this going to be the Dutch English debate going on now?
Dutch school. How did the World Cup go for you last time? But when you start performing well as a nation, you can start saying the Dutch way of the game.
More recently than you guys had a final in the World Cup. But anyway,
it was decades ago, mate.
It's just the total football school. Like you play out from the back, you keep passing, and not like it's you might lose the goal with the ball by just clearing it. It's just you keep losing the ball and you have to get it back again. So, of course, I prefer controlled passing, but if you are, it's more risky. You need to have the players for it, especially in a preseason tourney with everyone pretty much at the same level. I guess balanced would be better, or clearing.
Yeah.
But of course, controlled passing sounds nice.
Yeah. So what we've identified from all this. Actually, sorry, I've just interrupted. Tagard, we've not got your say on clearances, mate. What's your say on clearances?
Maybe I don't have the team for it, but I can't. I haven't had success playing out of the back.
There are all the team instructions in and out possession. My conclusion is that we know a lot, but we also don't know a lot. And we're also very confused, but we've only been about 2 weeks into it. So when it comes to testing, boys, and maybe find out what your team's good at, what your team's bad at, do you just pick a team, maybe like your mate's team, for example, and just drill like 10, 15 games, make a change? Or do you make small changes to identify strengths and weaknesses and change of team instructions? How do you boys approach sort of like the tweaking part?
The testing.
Yeah, the testing.
I think Tagerd is more of a pro in this than me, so I'll let him go first and then say what I would do.
Yeah, I friendly quite a bit, but when the instructions first came out, honestly, the first thing I did was, how does Manchester United play? Put it in there. It did better than I expected. I made bigger swings early on, but I've been the more controlled, making a small adjustment at a time, kind of getting as far as just starting with the formation completely balanced, complete 50-50, and then playing 2 or 3 games, kind of seeing how it goes, make a small adjustment, another 2 or 3 games, see how it goes, either adjust back or make another adjustment 2 or 3 games, and then just zeroing in on one team, basically, maybe a second or third if I feel like I figured something out, just to see how it does against somebody else. It is very much getting in, playing 10 to 15 games, making small adjustments at a time, actually watching the matches to see kind of where the play is in the field of play. If I'm more on the opposition half, more in my half, if it's end to end, if there's any relevant stats, like for me, one of the formations I've been messing around with is the 4-2-3-1. And it seems like if I could get 60% possession or around there in the 4-2-3-1, I'm very unlikely to lose. Seems like I win most of those matches. But if I'm like 55% or lower, it seems like my likelihood of losing goes up significantly. So, I mean, it's a small gap between 55 and 60%, but it seems like it's about half an XG on average without actually tracking what the XG and all the stats are.
Well, I've speaking about testing, like or identifying strengths, weaknesses. I did not, let's say, right now test a lot, but I tend to do the like testing against my own teams, so I can select both tactics, both team instructions, and just run a lot of friendlies and tweak. Maybe first like a big changes, then tweak some little things, and just keep playing it. Write down all the stats, see how I average on shots, how I average on XG. I think you just have to play that a lot, and then you see kind of a trend, spot those trends, and then play around with this. But yeah, the problem is there's so many different options, right? Formations and instructions that it's hard to really get a good sense, I think, of what will work against most teams. But yeah, we'll have to see. What are you, Jimbo?
Yeah, I like to pick a couple of formations that I will consistently run. So for me at the moment, it's 4-2-3-1, 4-1-2-1-2. Now the positional familiarity is coming into play. It's not so much 4-3-3. I used to play that quite a bit. Maybe I do tamper with 3-5-2. And then when I run a lot of tests and make small changes, I think I'm more looking at, did I make this worse than did I like make it better? I'm like, right. Because most of the time my changes, I end up getting blitzed. And I try and make small... at the moment, I'm still in that phase of I make big changes and then narrow it down, make smaller and smaller ones. Like find something that works well, then practice and practice and practice. At the moment, actually, let me just rock up what I'm actually going at the moment, actually. So at the moment, rocking 4-2-3-1. In possession, most is balanced, apart from cross less often, take less shots. In terms of out of possession, everything is in the middle or the same, balanced, apart from team depth. I keep all the trigger, aggressiveness, clearances. But I think at the moment I'm still trying to focus on my squad, my lineups, rather than how do I counter upcoming team? How do I identify their strengths or their weaknesses? At the moment, it's very much on the Wyverns and my other team, looking at their strengths and weaknesses, which is just from maybe looking at XGs, maybe taking like a 5-game running average or moving average, should I say, of those. I've always been in the boat. I don't like making knee-jerk reactions. Oh, I lost this game, I've got to change it. I will usually run about 5-6 in a row minimum and then change something. I think yes, you got to have, or even go to 10, right? Then you've got a good round number to look at it.
Yeah.
Lots of testing,
I
basically.
think at least 10 would be an okay sample to work with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very tempted to make those knee-jerk reactions. So I really need to restrain myself to do proper testing and then make an informed choice based on that. Just mess around with it and hope to see something. I get lucky or something. I think more interesting is talking about future instructions. Do we miss some instruction right now that we would like to tell our players? So Tagerd, are you missing an instruction? Would you like to tell your players something more than this?
Fullback.
I would love individual player roles. So I could say, hey, like you're saying, you have your right mid who's really high dribble, and the other one's left mid's lower defense. I want my right mid to push up higher into attack while my left mid kind of hangs back in the midfield a little bit to cover. So it might take that like 4-4-2 and you put your right mid up and you kind of turn into a more 4-3-3 in the final third. So I'd love individual player instructions, and I'd also, rather than just in possession, out of possession, I'd love to have like in possession, build up out of the back, in possession, midfield, in possession, final third, and like out of possession. It's like, all right, when do you when do you press? Are you pressing the sideline? Are you trying to press when they play it back to the goalie? Give like more individual like pressing instructions, and then it's also just basically compactness, weak side defense. Is it who's picking up? Is it going to be the left mid or the left back that's going to pick up the overlap? Do you have your defensive mid dropping in a little bit deeper to help with the back line, or are they kind of saying, I would love more kind of individualistic instructions, but
Yeah.
that's because I'm also a nerd, and then you'd have people like Ronan and Frequent Turkey who would go, "Oh my god, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm screwing this up somehow. I know it."
I love individual player tactics. From my perspective, some of the other team instructions I'd like to see on a bit more high level sort of approach, we'll call it. Things like offside traps. Do you want to play that or not? Like offside trap or force counter attacks. That could be nice having as an option. I also think marking style could be something, zonal or man-to-man, if that's from corners. There may be simple things that could have an influence on set pieces. I also think, I was thinking of this one just now, like an overall team mentality. So, like, do you just want to play in general, like more attacking football? I know, obviously, we can technically make those changes with these team instructions, but overall, do you want to park the bus in this game? Do you want to go all out attack this game? But those... maybe like an overall team mentality, I think, could be quite nice. They're a couple of the ones that I'd like to see.
Yeah, I was also going to say like those things, a couple more like marking, but individual instructions would really be good. Yeah, so we just spoke about those long shots. If you have 5 midfielders taking loads of long shots and 4 are bad at shooting, but this one guy is really high shooting, so maybe he's allowed to do it, but those others are not allowed to do it. And that one guy can dribble a lot, but not those others. So that would really, help to make those decisions if you could make it tiny bit more individual, and then do some fine tuning. That would really be good. And also marking. I would love to see that. That also helps to fine tune defense.
We could go into a whole nother plethora of universe, dimension of those. I think some like overarching ones like marking style, offside trap, those ones which just be not. I think that could be added nice to have sort of thing.
Tips and tricks, well, we already said we are still learning and experimenting, and I don't know if we are in a position to give other people tips and tricks, but what could be maybe a tip from your own experience right now you would give starting managers or who are really new to this game?
I think I'll always go back to this, like, just don't overthink things. I've said it all along throughout this whole podcast, really, is that just keep the faith with some of the stuff you're doing. Don't make massive changes because a couple games aren't going your way. Especially, you can maybe do those changes now in the pre-season, but you don't want to be making massive changes in the league, especially. And I think another one maybe is like we can now track stats a little bit better. So maybe when it comes to the seasons, I know I'll be doing this. I'll be taking notes down of each XG of the game, for example, and maybe try and tracking like a 3 or 5 game moving average, and then maybe have like a graph, and then maybe I'll say, right, if it gets to the halfway stage of the season, I'm happy with this, I'll make changes here. And then we can have a clear comparison. Here's this stats, here's these stats with 10 to 9 competitive games. So we're not having, 50 tests of it and then go for it. Tips, don't knee-jerk reaction and track your league stats. Or competitive stats, we'll call it. Yeah. That's my two top
just
tips.
Consistency, right? Just stick to your plan and don't panic.
Trust
the process. Back the process. Trust the boys.
What's
Tagerd? I'd say tip would be, first one would be along the same lines as Jimbo, is you don't need to go crazy with instructions. At least at first, start balance and then make a small change. You don't need to really say, as I first did, I want to see how this exactly plays. I have no idea what changes actually worked and what didn't. So small changes. Try to build a formation around the players that you have available and to their strengths. maybe it's not working too well since my preseason tournament isn't going so well, but I have a lot of left mids and right mids that have high passing, so I cross a little bit more. I mean, that's just what I'm doing. I'm still getting shots and expected goals. They're just not all going in. So that's something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then my gut and leap of faith is saying pace gets it behind higher lines. So if you're going to face a team that has really fast strikers, a lower line might not be bad.
Yeah, so maybe also do some scouting, right? If you have
Yeah.
one team or for your flagship team, do a little bit scouting if you see they have super fast strikers, or what you said before, like this weak left back. Maybe do right flank then to put some pressure on this weak left back. So a little bit scouting won't hurt, and be consistent. Trust the process. I think those are good tips from our
Trust the
side.
process.
Trust the process. Dirk dilemmas. Well, Jimbo, we decided we have a question from Duff that can be kind of our dilemma for all of us, like what to do. Can you tell us about this question?
Yeah, so Duff sent this Twitter this question on Twitter X, and he says, in an average match, so not one where you need to get creative, to try and steal a win or versus a high quality team, like an average game, balanced teams. How many settings do you expect to sort of change or tinker with versus just like leaving them on balance?
I tinker with instructions during friendlies, so if I feel like I have something that fits, I will typically leave it as it is for the average matchup. So far in the preseason, I've think from my base 3-4-3 settings that I've used from friendlies, I've adjusted once or twice for a matchup. I mean, I will tinker in friendlies, but then once I have a base instruction for the formation, I kind of just leave it. Then maybe one or two tweaks if I see something scouting.
Yeah, I guess this question is quite focused. I guess the average match right now is cup games because of the relative, small skill difference between the clubs and how the cups are set out right now. Whereas the piece where Duff asks, he says not in an average game not to get creative to steal a win or versus a high quality team. That could be more in the league play, where some people have silver teams that should be in far higher divisions than they're currently in. Not looking at anyone on this screen and podcast right now. But if someone's coming up against you, for example, they'll probably want to tinker more with it because they can't just go balanced because chances are they're going to get absolutely destroyed. So we all agreement that if it's an average game, less tinkering. If you're trying to go for a particular outcome, that's where the team instructions, like you hone in and make more changes.
I think in general what we said is like try to not tinker too much, I guess. Maybe make one or two changes. And in general, like I feel like balance is always a pretty safe choice. So just keep everything on default. Because I think it's still kind of a decent tactic. But that's my gut feeling right now.
And his follow-up question is sort of just, or same question, but it's two questions. Do you expect that to vary by formation? So do you have some formations that if you play 3-5-2, you'll always play low line? Or, or some question sort of thing. Oh, some questions, sorry. Lucas's quest announcement just distracted me from Discord. That's why I've sort of been put off there. Do you think that a lot of formations you have like default team instructions regardless of who you're playing? Or do you sort of say, I'm playing a 4-3-3, let's bring in the meta, like 4-2-3-1? Do you think there's definitely that sort of rock, paper, scissors aspect to it at the moment?
Formation-wise, I don't think there's rock, paper, scissors as much as it was before team instructions. Because before, Yaks and everybody always said that some formations do perform better than others. And then season 0.3, my rule of thumb was I wanted to have a stronger midfield. So I typically went for 3-5-2 or 4-2-3-1 just to have more bodies in the midfield. And it seemed like the 3-4-3, which I had run a lot previously, got exposed a lot with three at the back. The four in the midfield didn't necessarily outperform or 4-4-2 anymore, so the back three was more exposed. so far this season with instructions, I haven't found formation-wise anything that necessarily this is better than this is better than this.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
there's a lot more
It should also be in
uniqueness
harmony,
for lineups.
kind of. Right.
Yeah.
It should be some. I think that's most important, that it works. That your team instructions work for your formation. So yeah. So I think that's more what I feel like.
yeah. I think it'd be easy to get a better answer for that question midway through the season, like leagues, where you've got to actually make more. You're not forced to make more changes, but you're playing a team who is, there is a chance they're going to be considerably weak or considerably stronger than you, where you can actually feel, right, I'm playing a stronger team now. These are the options I should be using to best get the most out of my team. Or, for example, Burnley versus Man City. That's not your average matchup, so you should be tinkering with it a bit more. I think we all agree with that sort of theory, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I'm already kind of tinkering a little bit. If I see high-paced strikers, I'm playing a lower block right now.
Yeah.
Just from playing friendlies, it seems like higher blocks, they get behind. So I'm playing a lower block right now. So I think I'll keep that going forward. And if there's anything else I really notice, I'll add that into my Tinker Bank.
Tinker Bank, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like if somebody's playing low block, I'll usually have either a balanced or more shooting from distance, just because I want to get a few more shots off. But yeah, I mean, outside of those two, I haven't noticed anything specific, and I don't necessarily think those two are helping me win. Maybe not as likely to lose, but
the messages, right? Not too much tinkering, but if you do some scouting, and especially in the league when you have, your super strong teams and your weaker teams, then a couple of changes, a bit of tinkering might be beneficial to get a better result. But stick with your main tactic, and what we said, like balance, just keeping it balanced is probably also a pretty safe bet. To not tinker too much with things. Yes, that's our conclusion here. Question from our last guest. The question from our last guest is, Tagerd, what is your favorite shirt number for a football kit?
So if I get a jersey, I don't get a number on it. That's just me. But if I'm playing and I have to pick a number for myself, it's either 5 or 20. Don't really know why, other than those were the two numbers I always used when I was growing up playing soccer. I was either 5 or 20, probably because I think I got 20 first and just took that until I couldn't take 20 one year. Then I took 5, and then I was either one or the other.
And were you like a defender? So did it make sense, like with how numbers work in football? Like
So my first primary position, I was a keeper. And then when I wasn't playing keeper, I usually played outside mid. And then as I got into teams, it was outside mid, outside back, a little bit of center back. If I'm playing now, it's more center mid. I'm not fast enough to stay on the outside anymore, and I don't play enough to be great at tackling, so don't trust me as a center back. And I've never been a good finisher, so I don't play up top.
Okay. So 5 or 20. And if you had to pick one of those, what would you go?
I go 5 first.
5 first, yeah. Pick the starting 11 number rather than rather than 20. Which, yeah.
Although if I want to choose my number by like the position I most prefer to play, I'd choose 6, but I'd still take 5.
Well, CDM can be 5 and 6, I would say. So both.
Yeah.
So 5, 6, or 20, but 5 if you've got preference.
There, so
yeah. Nice. 6 would be third choice.
All right.
6 would be third choice.
And do you have a question for our next guest? Did you think of one?
I actually didn't think about this, so I'm going to go off of our current conversation from this episode. And what's the one tactical thing that stands out to you so far with team instructions? Whether it's like high line is really great or really bad, if it's always dribble a lot, always cross a lot. What's the one tactical thing that somebody's just kind of honed in on that they think makes a difference?
Touch balls a lot.
got to touch more balls to win. That's the rule this season.
All right. Jimbo, anything more to add? To discuss?
Negative.
Negative.
I think
I have one question for Jimbo.
Oh, one question for Jimbo.
Bloomin' heck, man. Bloomin' heck. Yeah, go on, fire away.
So, have you been tracking the Samurai Club this tournament?
What, is in Danes?
Yeah, you know the team.
Yeah, I know because of PTSD from Wendert Cup finals. I haven't. Honestly, I haven't. To quick answers, no, because I've been out this weekend. So I've been able to travel. What's happening with it?
No. I just know they're your favorite team. You like to say their name a lot. Full club name.
Oh, okay. Here we go. So this is what you're trying to get at. You want me to say the S word again? No, ever since my first hiccup, which it wasn't in like plain sight or plain speech, we'll call it. It was a name, and I had a little bit of a trip up, a little bit of a slip up. It's not like I go, oh yeah, guess what? I really love playing that 22 player sport called.
We all know you're a soccer fan just because your favorite candy bar is an adaptation of an American candy bar. We already figured it out.
I don't get this slander just because it's the equivalent of one that's. It's just. Is it because the equivalent's not that highly rated in America? Is that all it is?
No, it's the English gave us soccer, so the Americans gave you the Mars bar.
Yeah, but then we changed the name of it because we realised we couldn't. Because we couldn't. What was it? What was the reason?
We all know
rugby,
why,
isn't it? Yeah, something to do with rugby.
Well, I mean, isn't the creating soccer for coming from the English is adding the at the end, shortening the word and adding the at the end. It was association football, so it was soccer rather than taking the first three letters and adding the to the end.
Yeah, and then there's something to do with something to do with rugby as well. Like we called rugby like association football something or other. We had to swap it. There is a bit more context around it. End of the day, though, we all agree now that what do you play football with? Your feet, and you use a ball, right? What do you kick between a Y-shaped post? Hand egg. Yeah, there we go. We can all agree on that one.
Is Soccer AM still on the air over in England?
I've not watched that for a while. What? I've not watched that for a while. That used to be a good show, though.
Jimmy Bullard was in there. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
I don't mind saying it for that because that's not the name of it and it's funny when it's like I'll say it when it's like Soccer AM Pro Am and it's like I could say that. I don't mind saying that one.
You said it.
I got you to say soccer again.
I don't mind saying it in that one because I do enjoy that show or when it was on the old challenges. Then that was a good show. That, but
mission accomplished for Tagerd.
The real game is football, not hand egg. Any other ludicrous questions you're gonna deliver our way?
I could think of some, but no.
You're not coming back for a third time.
You say that now.
Yeah, that's it. I think so. Tag-erd, thank you very much for joining us on episode.
Thanks for having me back.
22. Maybe we might be back for a third time after that little question back then, but it's been a delight to have you on today's episode. Thank you for listening and getting this far. As always, if you get this far in the episode, in the general chat in Discord, #fire, and tag Lucas as well, just to let you know you've put that. And we'll see you on the stream tomorrow for the final player hack drop. If not, we'll see you this time next week for an episode of the Wendert Cast. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.